Hey guys, what's going on? This is Chris Swartz with the introductory episode of Fuel.
Yes.
And we are here today to get into some conversation with Gene Volpe. And Fuel is to talk to extraordinary individuals about an event that might have happened in their life that creates the foundation for where they are today. And we're going to talk to Gene, who is a longtime friend, and see if there's anything that we can find out today about Gene. That the goal here is that you may hear something that triggers an event in your life that will allow you to tap into that and use it for your fuel. So without any further ado, I'll give a little thanks and shout out to our sponsor, First Choice Mortgage Advisors, local mortgage brokers that are here for your purchase and refinance needs in Pennsylvania, Delaware, and soon to be New Jersey.
Nice.
So just to give a little background, Gene and I, we go way back.
Yeah, we do, right?
Yeah, absolutely. According to your phone, I'm in Gene's phone as the first time that we met. I guess you were so starstruck by me. You have it in there, and
that's a true story. Don't that's for real.
Yeah,
that's real stuff. I'm going to look it up as we're talking. Go.
So Gene and I have kept in touch and really just bounce ideas off of each other in our professional lives. We've enjoyed some cold beers together and just
lot of those
and just really shared different ideas and resources with each other throughout our careers. We kind of cross paths in different industries, but our paths do cross.
So here's what I'm seeing, right? This is funny. I won't mention names, but it says Chris was one of the branch managers for this mortgage company.
No longer in existence.
Oh, okay, good. Well, there you go. When I met another guy that you were friends with at the Ring Network.
Right, which was a real estate investing networking group.
Yep. These guys are friends of a third guy who I won't mention names on the podcast. But,
sure.
But you know who I'm talking about. But
absolutely.
This goes back, I think, to 2011.
Okay.
Does that sound about right?
I think it was like 2007, but
Yeah, you know what? It could have been. I mean, it could have been as early as 2007. You could be right about that.
Yeah.
Whatever the case is, we've been long friends.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. So we're here and wanted to, I've seen you do a lot of really awesome things, both, personally, professionally. So here we are. We're on Fuel, and we want to talk about an experience that you may have had in your life that really, kind of set the foundation for some things that you've been able to achieve, whether it's personally, professionally, anywhere. We're going down a road here that you're driving the bus. So
okay. Well, that's scary.
Yeah, yeah.
And also, I should say that I like the fact that on the outset you already assumed that I've achieved something. So I appreciate that.
Absolutely. We only think the best of our guests here on Fuel.
I appreciate that as well. And I'm going to give you an opportunity in about 3 minutes to think the opposite of that. So stay tuned.
Let's go.
So I think, I want to make sure the people know. I mean, you and I have had a lot of conversations, and you recently just did I won't name it unless you want to name it, but you just did a real big thing where you got to stand on a stage and talk to people about things that went on in your life, right? I don't know if you want to dig into that.
Yeah. I mean, I had the opportunity to go on stage and talk and share a similar story, which was an opportunity that was called The Proof.
Right.
And we'll put a link to that. You can check it out. It was a pretty interesting and kind of unique opportunity to get on stage and talk about something other than what I do and things of that nature. So this was a cool opportunity. It was a 3-minute talk, so I had to fit a little bit about who I am, where my foundation comes from, and things that have.
It's not easy, is it?
Not in 3 minutes,
right? Hey, you've been around 40 years. 3 minutes, go.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So it was a pretty cool experience, and it also helped, no pun intended, fuel the launch of this podcast.
I think that should be pun intended.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pun away, my man.
Yeah.
Pun away.
So, that's kind of if you check that out, you'll be able to see a little bit more about the foundation for this concept of fuel. And it was an awesome experience. And what I'm looking to do is kind of play off of that and meet with individuals, and here the proof is not necessarily designed around their foundation and achievements and things like that, but that's the way that I used it in my speech.
Okay.
So to say that I'm playing off of not so much the proof concept, but what I talked about in that setting. So
all right. So that's a good point that you bring up, because for people that are listening and maybe watching this on YouTube, I think it makes sense to go back to watch the proof to see what the fuel was based off of. Because you're right, you talk a lot about foundation. And I think that's what we're going to talk about today, my foundation a little bit, right?
Yep.
So you talk a lot about your foundation and things that, as we get older, I'm 44 now. I know I don't look it.
Sure, absolutely. Not a day over 21,
Thank
Gene.
you, buddy. I appreciate that. But there's a lot of things that happen every single day, and for some reason there's always a couple that stand out that were monumental. And I always remember the story I'll get ready to tell you about.
Sure.
That laid one of the foundations for really how I operate my business. Not so much some days how I operate my health, but certainly how I operate my family. And if I'm being honest, I'm married to a Sicilian. She operates the family. I kind of participate where I'm told to.
Absolutely, I do understand. Also married to a Italian, beautiful Italian woman that runs our family.
She's
I
not
understand.
You can say what you want.
Absolutely, that's exactly what I feel.
I know you would, because I know how you feel about her. It's funny. No, and of course I love the crap out of my wife too, but she scares me sometimes. But no. So it has a lot to do with some of those things that I learned as a younger kid. Has a lot to do with how I teach my kids. How I relay messages and lessons to them as they get older. My oldest daughter now is about the age that I was. She just turned 14. 2 months ago. She turned 14. So I was about 14 when the story I was getting ready to tell you took place. Are we ready to jump in, or?
Yeah, absolutely, man. You're
okay.
Like I said, you're, for better or worse, you're driving the bus, my man.
For better or worse,
yeah.
Okay.
So hold on, people. Gene is driving the bus here.
Well, I can't. Here's a good thing. I haven't been drinking.
So I don't know. We can verify that.
No, I'm just telling you. You have to trust me right here. Trust but verify, but you have to trust me. Yeah. So the one thing I can say is my father. So I'll give you a little background. So my old man was a Philly firefighter. Died in 1995. Was diagnosed. I'll jump back a little further. Was diagnosed with leukemia in '89. So in '89, I was going into my freshman year. And I don't know that we talked about this pre-show, because we kind of talked a little bit about this over the years. A little bit about my story, but
not.
Well, here's one thing that you definitely don't know. So you got to figure I was about 13 or 14 years old when we knew he was sick, and he had been sick for 6 weeks or so. He was a fireman, so there was always goofy stuff going on, with not being able to breathe. I mean, there was all kinds of crazy stuff. So he was home 6 weeks. Finally decided to take himself down to Penn. And they said to him, if you had waited 2 more days, you'd be dead. His white blood count was like so high they couldn't believe he was walking. Wow. So it was crazy. So now think about it. This was probably the end of the summer, so July, August-ish, in that range. And when I still remember sitting in my house. We lived in a row home in West Philly in Overbrook. There were 8 of us in an 1,100 square foot house. So apply that to your real estate game, right?
Nice.
1 bathroom,
nice.
6 girls. No, how many are there? There's 8 of us all together. So me and my father and my 2 brothers, 4 and 4. So 4 women, 4 boys in an 1,100 square foot house. And I can remember them sitting on the couch with all of us sitting on the floor when they broke the news to us, what was going on. And at the time, they still didn't know what it was. Now remember, I'm a budding teenager, getting ready to go to a freshman year of high school. And all I heard him say was, I'm being tested for HIV. So at the time, it doesn't make any sense, right? But at the time, they had to rule out a bunch of things. And he rattled off leukemia and all these different things, and all I heard was AIDS.
Wow.
At that time, right?
As an adolescent.
Oh, my God. I'm saying to myself, I can't go to high school. My dad has AIDS. Like, there's no way. Just because of how stupid I was and how young, right?
You're young.
And I'm worried about the misconceptions that are coming, what you see on the news, and it was really just, I remember that's all I heard. It was like the air was sucked out of the room, and I was like, oh my God, what are we going to do? So it turns out they were able to rule all that stuff out. In hindsight, was it the best thing that he had leukemia? Probably not, because it killed him 6 years later, 5 years later, whatever it was. So he died 95. But during that process, during that time, and probably right around the time that he was diagnosed, I would think, I remember coming to him, and my buddy Johnny LaRosa had this pink Predator. Remember the Predators?
Absolutely.
The trick bikes, right? Yeah. Man, it was and it was pretty. And he had white tires on it. the mags. I mean, there were no mags. It had spokes, and it was the first bike I ever saw that had like 100 spokes in each wheel. You know how like the bike I used to ride had like 12 spokes on each wheel?
Yeah,
this one had like 300 and they were shiny, man.
Yeah. Do you have some pegs on that bike?
Oh, on the front and the back.
Right,
two times. Oh, yeah. It was the first time I ever saw the rotor.
Okay.
You remember the neck?
Yeah,
you could turn the handlebars all the way around?
Yep.
Because on my bike previously, they had the wires. So when you
you
turned
get
it all the way around,
caught, you're going down.
You're done. It's over. Head first. So I remember seeing that bike, and I remember saying to myself, I need to get one of these. Like, I have to have something like this. Now, I had to be different. I couldn't get what Johnny had because I can't be riding around on the same bike Johnny's got, so I got to figure something out. So we laugh all the time. We talk about the mongoose. I found this light blue mongoose. Man, it was pretty.
Nice.
And at the time, I want to say it was like right around $300. And I came home and I said to my dad, not that he was expecting this, because I kept my mouth shut until I realized what I wanted. And I said, Dad, I want to get a new bike. And he said, oh, okay, tell me more. And I said, I found this blue mongoose. It's beautiful. And I forget where I bought it, but I told him where it was. And he's like looking at me. Now, you got to remember, I'm the oldest of 6. We all went to Catholic school. He was a affiliate firefighter. My mom stayed at home. We didn't have a shit ton of money.
Right.
Right? Like cash wasn't coming out of his ears. Right. So for me, $300 for a bike was like, I was expecting him to say, I'll buy it for you, but you're going to forego the next 11 Christmases. Right? Like, and I was ready for that. I was ready for the trade. So he said to me, he just looked at me and shook his head noddingly, like, sure. And I remember thinking to myself, this is going a lot better than I thought it was going to. Like, I thought by now I'd be.
Where's the catch?
Yeah, right. And he said to me, and I said, he goes, that's great. I think that's great. And I was like, wait a minute. But Dad, it's $300. And he was like, that's fantastic. And I'm like, still thinking he's buying this thing for me. Right?
Yeah.
And I said, I don't understand. He goes, well, dude, I don't care if it's $1,000. You're going to work for it and buy it yourself. And I was like, wah, wah, wah.
Right. Oh,
there was the catch. So what he did was he walked me around. I lived down the hill. If you know anything about West Philly, which most people listening won't. But if I lived down the hill and there was an up the hill. So we would walk up Haverford Avenue. And he would drive me, but we would walk up all the time. He would drive me up, and there were a couple restaurants along the strip, and he was like, we'll get you to be a busboy. Like, it makes sense at 13, 14 years old. You go bus tables, you run around in the morning, make a couple bucks. 672 years later, I'd have enough money to buy the mongoose, right?
Yeah.
So we go up, and I remember first we went to Greenleaf, which was a restaurant, famous restaurant, still there. They did breakfast. He used to go for breakfast, loved it up there, and a waitress who was there, and that was a scrawny little thing. I can still remember Mrs. Keatley, and she said, he can't lift these buses. He's too small. And I remember thinking, like, this, I won't say on here, but I always remember hating her from that day. And my dad laughed and did his thing, and we went up a couple stores and hit this Greek guy, oh my gosh. Oh, God, I can't think of his name. He employed me for so long. Demos. Oh, my God, I'm sorry. So he employed me forever, and he said, sure, I need a busboy. You let him come Tuesday. And so I worked there. So they stuck me in the back. I learned. I was late all the time. I did all this stuff. And I can remember saying to my dad, I came home the one day after a couple months or a couple weeks, and he said, how you doing with the bike, man? And I said, I'm doing okay. I got about like $150 ready to go. I said, a little couple more months, and I think I'll have it. He went, let's go get that bike, kid. So we went out. I put my 150 up. He put that balance up for me. And I had a brand new mongoose, and I got it. So it was the fulfillment of like one of my first dreams with a little bit of help. And I think, as we talked about, I'm getting the chills when I talk about it. He's gone 25 years this year, 24 years this year. So next year will be a big 25. He's been dead longer than, more than half my life.
Sure.
So, I miss him, but I also don't remember him, and I remember I'm trying to teach him to my kids. But this was one of these things that like I try to pass on. And the message always to me was, I think a lot of people, especially entrepreneurs, like I've heard in the real estate game a lot, and any MLMs you do, it's always like passive income, there's shit passive. You got to work your ass off, right? And I don't care what anyone says. If you get to a point where you can create passive income, that's a great thing, but you don't get there by accident. If it's not endowed to you or you didn't hit the lottery, you got to work your ass off. I saw a meme the other day that was like, said something about, I love when people say to me, I want to be an entrepreneur so I have more free time. That's a thing, right?
Absolutely.
But I think that prepped me. Dream. It's totally the dream. But I think it's missold a lot. Like, it's like, you don't have to work hard. You got to work smart. Bullshit. You got to work hard. Right. You got to be smart, but you got to work hard. And I think for me, it was a couple things. He taught me how to create a goal, how to realize the goal, but also when you work hard, you can have what you want, and sometimes people along the way will help you a little bit. And that's been
powerful.
It's a good one, right? Like that's
absolutely.
just one that I'll just take to the grave. And I hope somewhere down the road when my kids say, my dad's been dead now 25 years, I mean, I hope that doesn't ever happen. You get the point. That they'll have a message or a memory from a lesson I taught them that they'll keep with them and teach to their kids.
Sure. And that's a key point, and really why this podcast exists, because I think we can just pause on that for a second. We all have those memories, those experiences, and we continue to have them every day. And if we can leave little bits and pieces of that with kids, if you have kids, or family or friends or whoever it is, so that they can your legacy, so to speak, lives on. That's what we're here for, man. That is really the key, is to really hearing you say that you're going to leave that little piece of Gene, so to speak, for your kids to then. I mean, you don't know how long that will continue on, because if that resonates with them, are they going to do that with their kids, who are in turn going to do that with their kids? And, and that's what we're here for. Yeah,
and I don't know if it's going to be the lesson that my dad taught me that I'm going to pass down from generation to generation, like my last name, or if it's going to be something else that my 13-year-old, I happened to be there at the right time and said the right thing that resonated with her, that she'll remember. When I was 13, my dad said this to me, and it might not have anything to do with my parents.
Sure.
It's just something that basically is ingrained in me, and the way that I believe things and the way that I handle my life and my business. And I'm hoping it's a positive thing. Sure. I mean, there's always the chance that it's just going to pick something negative up that I did, right? And take that with her. You hear people all the time saying, like, my dad was a creep, he used to do X, Y, and Z,
Right, yeah.
Or my mom was X, Y, and Z. So I hope certainly she's picking up on the good stuff I do, not the negative stuff, because there's enough of that.
Yeah, that's right.
I think we all have that, right? I hope, anyway. I think I'm a little human, anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, Gene, I mean, that's definitely, it's a powerful story on so many levels, with setting goals, and really the piece that you talk about when you set out to achieve a goal. Sometimes somebody will come along the way and just kind of give you a kick in the ass, right? A little, a little boost that you may not have planned when you were looking at that goal from, okay, here's how I'm going to get from point A to point B. It's all you, but when you're going down that road, you just come across people that might say, "Hey, Gene, hop in. We can shortcut this," and that is, probably a lesson that I would think that you take out of that say, wow, okay, I didn't have to do this, but because you took action, you were able to get to where you wanted to be. Yeah,
and I think the one thing too, I just want to make sure I always have my ears and eyes open for that opportunity to come, but I don't expect it.
Right.
So I anticipate that I'm going to be accountable for all the actions that take place in between point A and point B. But if I pick up some good people along the way, because of hard work and because of whatever's going on, that's not a bad thing.
Sure.
It's going to be a good thing. So, but I think is that you have to be able to figure out a way to shed the entitlement that so many of us have. Like, I work hard, so I deserve. And that's not really all the way it works all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to. Don't get me wrong. I wish I knew going in that, next Tuesday when I wake up in the morning and I feel like shit and I don't want to do anything, I wish somebody was going to be there to say, "Come on, Tiger. Get out of bed, buddy. We got stuff to do." Right?
And one of the things that one of my mentors shared with me is no one's coming to save you.
Right?
And that is a huge statement.
Yeah.
Like, if you do understand that you are accountable for everything that happens, good, bad, or otherwise in your life, and you operate as if that, hey, no one is coming to save you.
Yep.
I mean, because that is the reality.
You paint yourself into a corner. There's no choice.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is powerful. That's powerful motivation.
Yeah.
That's powerful fuel.
That is powerful
See
fuel.
what I did there?
I
Pun
like that.
intended.
Nice. So, cool. Anything else, that you'd like to, share about with that experience, or, kind of how that filters in or flows into your life, business?
Well, I think just to keep it simple, it's just a daily reminder. It's a constant reminder for me to Just keep working hard. You know, there are some days, a lot of days where I wake up and people say, "Are you busy?" And I go, "Hamster wheel busy."
Sure.
You know that feeling?
Yeah.
Like I still have to answer the emails and still have to answer the voicemails and deal with the crap I don't want to deal with. But it's sort of part of the process.
Sure.
And so I got to be reminded every once in a while, like, this is muck work. This sucks. And then it's like, well, you're not in a ditch somewhere digging in 600-degree weather. You know, you're sitting in your basement answering emails. Like, let's keep it in context here and stop bitching and work hard. Do what you said you're going to do. Remember these memories of your father and things that he taught you, and keep your mouth shut, work hard. And, you know, like I said, it's easy. It's very easy to say that on whatever today is after a weekend full of fun and friends and family. But there are days in the middle of the week, they call hump day for a reason, right? There's sometimes you need that little extra. And if I can call back and think about some of those moments, and I don't do it enough. I mean, you know, there's plenty of Wednesdays I don't think about that mongoose experience. But if I could draw on that, it just makes me think like, okay, stop being a little bitch and just do what you got to do.
Absolutely.
You know?
Awesome. And, you know, for those of you listening out there, that's really what we want to, you know, get across, and what we hope you can pull out of the time you invested in listening to this podcast is, you know, when you just have to get it done, when, you know, no one is coming to save you, what is that one experience or that one thing that you can tap into that's going to get you through that day, you know, middle of the week, and, you know, whatever, and, you know, not just the, you know, giant monster or, you know, 24-ounce coffee. Like, what is it that can really get you through a tough time? Because the you know, that fuel that we all have inside of us, that story is gonna fuel you way more than a 24-ounce, you know, cup of coffee.
Yeah. If it doesn't, you need to reevaluate.
Yeah. So that's awesome, Gene. Well, I want to thank you, you know, for coming on today and, you know, taking the time to really share that experience. And as we do every week, starting now.
Love it. Yeah, I love it.
You know, we got 3 questions for you. It's just a little bit of a rapid fire.
Oh, boy.
So get ready.
Go ahead. I'm not ready, but go for it.
So you're stuck on an island, right? We've all had this thought, right? You're stuck on an island.
Right.
First question, what local dish or food, what do you bring to eat? You can bring anything you want.
All right, so can I give you 2?
Sure, fire away.
Only because these are 2 fresh in my mind. They both contain fish, which is very weird because I'm a meat guy.
Okay.
No, to all you vegans and vegetarians, I'm sorry, but I do enjoy a nice steak, and I love chicken. I'm a good eater. I like everything, but for some reason when that came to mind, I thought about the dragon roll at Teikoku.
Nice.
You know about it?
Yeah.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's not
the restaurant. That's the restaurant among itself.
Yeah, right. Well, and being here in media, that whole family owns like Azi.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's the Wynn restaurants, which I'm not in affiliation with them. I just happen to be going to Teikoku for 14 years. But the dragon roll at Teikoku is, damn, I thought of a third one too while we're sitting here talking. But the dragon roll at Teikoku is this gigantic. It's expensive, but it's huge, and it's like tuna wrapped on tuna over tuna and wrapped with tuna and more tuna. It's hard to explain. You got to go try for yourself. Nice. But it's like, and it's not a ton of rice, and it's not the green seaweed. It's actually like rice paper with sesame seeds in it. It's kind of hard to explain. So that coupled with like one of their nice sakis,
okay,
is a good way to go. I will tell you that a couple of weeks ago, I came out of a meeting with a client of mine in Westchester, and I came from Split Rail Tavern. And for the first time ever, I tried a Caesar salad with salmon on it. So I usually eat it with chicken. Sometimes I have it with shrimp. And I said to the girl, you have it with salmon? Like, what's that like? She was like, you won't be disappointed. I've been thinking about that piece of salmon for like 4 weeks.
Nice. These are good island foods here,
right?
You know?
I know,
but
it's
nice and light. You'll
yeah, won't kill you
good.
for lunch. Won't kill you for lunch. You don't have to go back like our conversation last week after you had lunch with your wife and said, I just want to go to bed, man.
Yeah, we you got to, the heavy food during the day it'll knock you out, but
it's bad, especially towards the end of the week.
Tastes good though.
Oh, it's beautiful. No, I have a hard time staying away from it. As I tell you that I just had Chick-fil-A on the way here today, right?
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, so that was 2. I won't go into the third one. That's 2. Okay.
All right, so we got 2. All right, and then you're stuck. You're not going anywhere. So you got plenty of time on your hands. Give me a book.
One book. I'm going to sound like a weirdo right now, but I got to go with The Secret.
The Secret.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
Classic.
I've had it for years. Like I tried to watch the movie, I couldn't take the movie. So somebody said to me, "Don't worry about it. If you can't watch the movie, don't worry about it. Just get the book and go through it." It's a really easy read. There's nothing to it, but it seems like when I do take the time to read that and spend a couple minutes each day, things around the universe conspire to help me. I know it sounds. You're probably listening to this thinking like, "This dude's a kook." I'm not. It's one of those things where like everybody. We used to joke all the time, and The Secret wasn't to like if you read it wrong, people will say like, "Well, I'm imagining to the universe that I'm going to make money, and I keep going to my mailbox, and there's still bills there."
Right.
It's not what it's about. It's about visualizing stuff for yourself and for your family and for your goals and for your dreams, then figuring out a plan to obtain them and then executing on the plan. So it's not thinking about something like a boat and sitting on your couch and waiting for the boat to appear because the universe
kind of ties
give it
back
to
the
bike.
Yeah, the bike and hard work. It's it's not easy, and you're not just going to sit in your armchair and think about checks in the mailbox.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
So
sorry.
Sorry.
Unless you're on disability or something. But that doesn't make it much fun. But so for me, it's always been one of those things where I feel like it just sets me in a spot mentally where it puts me in the right frame of mind to be working with the universe and have the universe be open to working with the universe and having the universe work with me. And the more I get my head into that space, it seems like the more things go the way I want them to.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And you put it out there, and if you get up and you think, hey, today's gonna be a rough day. I don't feel like doing this. I don't feel like getting to the gym today. I'm tired. It's gonna be so. You will absolutely get that in return. Your day's gonna be hard. It's gonna be tough to get to the gym or do whatever it is that you have put out there. Is going to be difficult. So that's awesome. I have to be honest. I took the Cliff Notes version. I did get through the movie. So conceptually, I love it. I mean, I get the concept of what you put out into the universe kind of resonates and comes back.
Yep.
Last question.
All right.
So outside of your loved ones, your family, and the people that we know we would all want to take with us, who are you taking with you? And this can be maybe somebody that's been influential in your life, maybe a buddy that just would be a hell of a time on an island, maybe somebody that's going to help you survive and live out your golden years on the island. What do you got? Who are you taking with you?
I could get myself in a lot of trouble with this question, can't I?
Again, you're driving the bus, so you could drive it right off the road right now.
So you already eliminated my wife. So if she's listening, of course I would have said my wife.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then my daughters, right? But you took them out of the equation, so I have to go with Kathy Ireland. I mean, no. I'm kidding.
Oh man, that bus, boom, just right off the road.
I was just honestly, she's probably in her late 50s now, but I always remember her from the SI. I loved her when we were younger. I had a big time crush. Man, that's a really hell of a good question. And I'm trying to think about the people in my circle. I'm going to go weird on this one. Let me think about this. I'm going to go strange. Let me go and say I would take my brother-in-law, Pete. How about that? Does that count? Or is that technically part of my family?
He's part of the family.
Part of the family?
Pete's out.
Stay
Pete's
out. Pete's out?
Pete's
right,
out.
Pete will be happy to know that, so he's not stuck on an island with me. Let's go with Ed Fordyce. He's somebody I thought about.
Okay.
So Eddie F. I actually haven't talked to Ed in probably in a couple of months. I still watch his videos on Facebook, but he's a local real estate guy, but he's also like a coach. And I go back years with him where he actually helped me shed some pounds. I know it probably doesn't, if you're watching the video, it doesn't really look like that, but I was pretty heavy and he shook me out of my space. He's a positive guy. He's tuned into the universe. He's just like, I think he's a good dude, and I think he would be fun. We would CrossFit all day, every day. He's nuts.
Nice.
And also we would probably fight a lot. Which would be fine.
Right.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. But I think I could also get him to build like a tree house for me.
Okay, so he's gonna hook you up.
I think we could do some. I think we definitely could do some stuff. So.
No, he's a realtor. I mean, is he gonna?
No, he's not really.
Oh, okay.
I think he has a license and he's like a broker of record.
Okay, so he's not gonna try to sell you the tree house. Like he's gonna build it. He's definitely gonna let you in.
Well, listen. If I brought him with me, I guess it depends, right? If I brought him with me and we're stuck, is he happy we're there? Then I'm in trouble if he's not. But if he's happy we're there,
he doesn't even know what happened. He doesn't know. He just got dropped.
Nah, then he wouldn't sell me. He's not a salesman. No, he's definitely not a salesman. I wouldn't bring a salesman with me.
Nice. All right. So, perfect. Well, close out the show. How do we find more out about Gene? Where do we find you? How can we hook up with you?
So I'm real easy. If you go to GeneVolpe.com or search for Gene Volpe on any of the social media channels, the Gene Volpe on Instagram, Gene Volpe Media on Facebook. I mean, it's pretty simple. I'm Gene Volpe on Twitter. There's only a couple Gene Volpes in the universe, and most of them are not doing social media like I do. So if you search for my name, it's pretty simple. So GeneVolpe.com, you can connect with me there, send me a message. There's a little thing that pops up. You can send me a chat, whatever. So that's the way to do it.
Okay, awesome. And with that, we'll close it out and look forward to catching you on the next podcast. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Thanks for having me, man.